Hello, and welcome to the Badhumanist look at the Windwalker Monk. So the last 3 monk classes I'm going to be going over, and again, in this video I'm going to be going over all of the passive and abilities, of course going through all the talents, looking for things like synergy, usefulness, things like that. Show a little bit of gameplay, and then of course we'll move on to overall stats, stat synergies. Again, not giving stat rankings, but just saying, okay, this stat will do this stat will do that, what stats might be better or worse, and then end with some overall thoughts and some hopes for the future. So let's begin, of course, with those passives here. So again, we have Windwalking, so you and your allies within 10 yards have 10% increased movement speed. That's always nice. Again, extra movement speed, no one's going to complain about that. Mystic Touch, again, this is the Monk passive kind of raid utility, where your damage weakens the target, increasing physical damage taken by 5%. So again, having a Monk in group is good. Combo Strikes passive, your abilities deal, again, some percent more damage when they are not a repeat of the previous ability. So again, same as we had in Legion. Afterlife, when you kill an enemy, you summon a healing sphere, healing you for X. When you walk through it, when you kill an enemy with a blackout kick, you have a 50% chance of summoning a chi sphere, granting 1 chi when you walk through it. Those are your passives. Moving on to your abilities now. You of course have Zen Pilgrim still, 1 minute cooldown, takes you back to the monk home. Vivify, again, a little bit of self-healing. You have, of course, Transcendence and Transcendence Transfer. Right? Pour it back and forth. You have Touch of Karma, so 1.5 minute cooldown. All damage you take is redirected to the enemy as nature damage. Again, damage cannot exceed half of your maximum health. Lasts for 10 seconds. Touch of Death, big cooldown here, so you inflict huge damage on the enemy, causing the target to take 50% of your maximum health for 8 seconds. Reduced against players. And then during those 8 seconds, 10% of all their damage you deal to the target will be added to the final damage down. So kind of damage amplifier as well in that window. Tiger's Lust, again, is a talent. We'll talk about that later. Tiger Palm generates 2 chi. Attack with the palm of your hand, dealing some damage. Has an 8% chance to make your next blackout kick cost no chi. Storm, Earth, and Fire, another kind of cooldown here. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown with a recharge, 2 charges. So you split into 3 spirits. Each spirit dealing 45% of normal damage and healing. Of course, you directly control them. They'll attack whatever nearby enemy you have. While active, casting it again will cause the spirits to fixate on your target. So again, in AoE situations, they'll kind of be just hitting anything around them. You can, however, of course, focus them on a single target if you want. Spinning Crane Kick costs 2 chi. It's a channel. Does some spinning damage. Again, can't use without the chi. But again, you just kind of spin in place. Now again, Spinning Crane Kick's damage is increased by 10% for each unique target you've struck in the last 15 seconds with Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, or Rising Sun Kick. So again, if you're kind of, hitting a bunch of different targets by tabbing around, this will do a bit more damage. Spear Hand Strike, again, is an interrupt. Of course, you have Roll still. Rising Sun Kick, kick upwards, dealing damage, reducing the effectiveness of healing on the target, reduced by haste. You have your Res, Provoke is a taunt, of course. Paralysis, incaps the target for 1 minute, 4-second cooldown. You have Leg Sweep, again, knocks down all enemies within 7 yards, stunning them for 3 seconds. You have Flying Serpent Kick, so again, this kind of flies forward. You can hit it again to kind of drop down. Fist of Fury is a channel, greater than 20-second cooldown, reduced by haste. Pummels all targets in front of you, dealing a bunch of damage over 3.2 seconds to your primary target, and again, more damage to any other target can be channeled while moving, so again, you can move and channel this all at the same time. Disable, so it reduces the target's movement speed by 50%, 15 seconds. It's refreshed by your melee attacks. Targets already snared will be rooted for 8 seconds instead. Detox removes all poison and diseases. Crackling Jade Lightning, so again, channels Jade Lightning, causing nature damage. Targets are sometimes knocked back. Blackout Kick costs 1 chi, so you kick with the blast of chi energy, and again reduces the cooldown of Rising Sun Kick and Fist of Fury by 1 second each when used. Let's take a look at our talents now. In the 15 row here we have Eye of the Tiger. So again, Tiger Palm also applies Eye of the Tiger. It deals nature damage to the enemy and healing to the monk over 8 seconds. We have Chi Wave, so it gets a wave of Chi energy, 50-second cooldown. Again, flows through friends and foe, dealing nature damage and healing. Again, it bounces to both enemies and friends. That's a kind of ant talent in my mind. Again, you're going to need to have a case where you have a lot more enemies than friends. Obviously, I would worry about this doing more healing than damage. But again, if you're just looking at overall utility, maybe okay. Chi Burst, so again, hurls a torrent of Chi energy up to 40 yards forward, dealing some nature damage. So again, it looks like this. Boom. Again, Chi Burst generates 1 Chi per enemy target damage up to maximum 2. So again, if you hit 2 targets, you get the maximum Chi. 30-second cooldown. This at least does decent damage, and again, you can kind of target it. So again, if you're behind, you'll probably be able to heal your tank as well as do damage to the boss and any other targets in the area. Really, when it comes down to it, again, I really think Chi Burst is going to be what you go for AoE, maybe even possibly single target, though I do think either Tiger is doing a little bit more currently single target, but again, either one of those two can be fine. Chi Wave, I just can't find much value of with the current scaling right now. 30, so these are all movement talents. You have Tiger's Lust. 30-second cooldown increases a friendly target's movement speed. Chi Torpedo torpedoes you forward, and then of course increases your movement speed afterwards. And then it reduces the cooldown of roll by 5 seconds and increases its maximum number of charges by 1. So again, more powerful roll, change roll to Chi Torpedo or Tiger's Lust. 45 row, we have Ascension, so increases your maximum Chi by 1 from 5 to 6, maximum energy by 20, it's up to 120, and your general energy regeneration by 10%. Fist of the White Tiger, 40 energy cost, 30-second cooldown, strike with a technique of the White Tiger, dealing this damage. Now, the key thing here is it generates 3 Chi, so again, that can be quite useful for generating Chi to be able to, of course, use on your abilities. The last one, Energizing Elixir, chug Energizing Elixir, refilling all your energy and instantly generating 2 Chi on a 1-minute cooldown. So I find that in general, like, getting the extra energy is not going to be, I think, as valuable as the extra Chi. So of these two, I think Fist is better. But again, this is a nice passive all the time. No matter which one I took, I had downtime, though. You're kind of weighing energy in general, especially because, again, you're trying to not hit the same thing twice. So again, like, you don't want to hit Blackout Kit twice. You want to hit a Tiger's Palm in between. A Tiger's Palm costs 50 energy, pretty expensive. So you're kind of going back and forth between your Chi spenders and, again, Tiger's Palm for the most part. And Ascension just helps you with that. Fist of the Tiger can be good as well. That 3 Chi is quite nice to generate every 30 seconds. Again, the 2 Chi every minute plus all energy, I just don't think it is as good, but I could be wrong. 60 row, we have Tiger Tail Sweep, increases the range of leg sweep by 2 yards, reduces its cooldown by 10 seconds. You have Good Karma, so Touch of Karma can now redirect an additional 50% of your maximum health, up to 100% basically. And then Ring of Peace, of course, forms a Ring of Peace around the, around the target. We've all seen that before. Inner Strength, so each Chi you spend reduces the damage taken by 2% for 5 seconds up to 5 times, so up to 10% damage reduction. This is going to basically be up almost all the time. Diffuse Magic, again, reduces your magic damage you take by 60% for 6 seconds, so very good magic damage cooldown. Dampening Harm, 2-minute cooldown, again, reduces your damage between 20 and 50%. More damage gets reduced by more. Again, good, just general damage reduction. So basically, it's if you're going to be absorbing a big hit in a fight, 2-minute cooldown, great. If not, Inner Strength is just a passive 10% damage reduction at all times. Can't pass that up. 90 row hit combo, so each successful attack that triggers combo strikes in a row grants 1% increased damage, up to 6%. So 6% more damage basically all the time, doing what you should be doing anyway. So it's kind of basically rewarding you for doing what you should be doing anyway, which is not hitting the same ability twice. Rushing Jade Wind, so it costs 4 energy plus 4 per second. It gets the cooldown reduced by haste. So you get a whirling tornado around you, causing damage every 0.6 seconds. All enemies within 8 yards. So again, the damage will keep going on basically. Again, so just every 6 seconds, but again, it costs you 4 energy per second there. This, I think, needs its damage increased. I just don't know why you would take this currently. Maybe, obviously AoE is going to be better for this, but I still don't know if it's going to be worth it. Because you still get the damage for AoE for this too. Anyway, invoke when the White Tiger, or Zen the White Tiger. So summons an effigy, the White Tiger, for 20 seconds. It attacks your primary target and strikes 3 enemies within 10 yards every 1 second. This is a good 2-minute cooldown. Does pretty decent damage. Again, hit combo and this are going to be basically what you're going to be probably picking between for the most part. Again, I just think hit combo makes a lot of sense. It's just passive damage all the time. This is a good burst damage, of course, on a 2-minute cooldown. Of course, you can use it with Touch of Death at 2 minutes. Kind of have some synergy there. 100 row, Spiritual Focus. Every 2 Chi you spend reduces the cooldown of Storm, Earth, and Fire by a second. So again, just giving you your little extra dudes more frequently. Whirling Dragon Punch. 20-second cooldown, does a good bit of damage to all nearby enemies, so it has AoE viability here. Now it's only usable when both Fist of Fury and Rising Sun Kick are on cooldown, which happens a decent amount of time. So again, a nice little extra AoE ability. Again, its cooldown is reduced by haste. And then Serenity. So you enter an elevated state for 12 seconds, you deal 20% increased damage and healing, and all chi consumers are free and cooldown 100% more quickly. So I have a feeling for a single target, either Serenity or Spiritual Focus would be better. I'm not really sure, honestly, which one's better. I did very similar damage with either of these. Yeah. With this, again, you end up having close to like a minute, maybe a little bit less cooldown on this. And again, with the recharge, this is really nice because you don't waste it basically ever. Because again, you're always going to get that 1 second cooldown, even if you go past. So basically, if this is off, if it has a charge, for example, you can get it to keep reducing the cooldown, and you're never going to have it back up to 2. Right? You're always going to be using it frequently enough to not get back to 2 charges. So that's going to have almost endless value. Serenity, again, just forces you to have a 1.5 minute cooldown. So again, you're kind of having a longer cooldown then, but the value of this is very strong. In those 12 seconds, it's a lot. Again, these are up for longer. So again, it's 15 seconds, and again, they're dealing 4% of your damage. So again, it's going to be a math problem, basically. The Sims will probably tell us which one's better of these two, but they're both very similar in a kind of cooldown you're going to be using about every minute and a half or a bit less. I do think that Spiritual Focus does help better with Touch of Death because you can tend to get one up for every touch of death to get more damage in that window, which is very, very valuable. Okay, let's actually switch this back. Okay, so let's take a look at what a rotation might look like. All right. Alright, so again, the key thing here is just to not hit the same button twice, of course. So again, you're going to be going back and forth between Tiger's Palm and again, one of your kind of chi spenders. Let me get a Touch of Death going on. Should have had that earlier. And you'll see when Touch of Death goes off, a lot of damage out there. Now again, I kind of messed up that Touch of Death, so my damage won't be as good as it normally would be. But again, that's okay. Can get another one of these going. But yeah, so again, it's a very straightforward connotation where basically you have obviously like a priority of damage of your abilities. Fist of Fury is of course the most important, followed by Rising Sun Kick, and then of course Blackout Kick. Blackout Kick does have the advantage, of course, reducing the cooldowns of the other ones. But again, no matter what talent you take, you're going to end up having some kind of energy waiting time, basically, where you're kind of like waiting to have enough energy to Tiger Palm. Again, it's a very kind of nice and even rotation. Again, the hit combo you can see being up there again should be up almost all the time. Again, with movement, it can be a problem. Again, I know monks have complained that with large movement fights, they can sometimes have their hit combo drop. Again, I actually just accidentally messed up there. But other than that, again, there should be really no reason to have it drop. Again, some of the other talents help in the sense that they allow you to have other abilities to hit to kind of keep the hit combo up. And again, having like, ranged abilities, for example, to kind of keep your hit combo up are very valuable. So again, things like Chi Burst and such I think can be very helpful there just for that alone. So that again might be a reason to take something like Chi Burst because again, it can kind of help keep that hit combo up from a range, which I know is something that's very valuable to the Windwalker Monks here. But as you can see here, this is about the kind of damage that I've been used to. Get that 2.4. This time I'm going to try to do a better job. I'm actually going to hold off the Touch of Death for a second here to get back my little dudes. And we'll kind of see what we can get up to after that. Alright, so get my dudes up. Touch of Death. Good, I'm going to get a nice Fist of Fury in this window. Yeah, nice little Touch of Death there. Alright, so let's kind of get out of combat now. Alright. So that is, again, kind of the idea here. You can kind of see where I messed up with this little tracker here. I think there it is, right? So at the very top here, I had blackout kick twice. I know that's bad, obviously, but in general, you're just kind of trying to hit different abilities. So again, here you can see the kind of damage breakdown: blackout kick, fist of fury, touch of death, right? So I got 2 touch of death, huge damage for those. Didn't get any crits, which is fine. Rising sun kick, right? You can kind of see my other dudes, the damage that they do. I have the tiger dot down there. So again, looking at my auras here, you can see again, Eye of the Tiger up almost all the time. Again, hit combo, I messed up once, but again, that should be up almost all the time as well. So again, with this, I had about a 35% uptime on Storm Earth and Fire. So let's see here, that was a 2 minutes 45 second encounter there. So again, I had it for a minute out of 2 minutes 45. So yeah, you can kind of see that's pretty decent. Again, uptime for that. The cooldown on that gets reduced to around a minute, I think. With all the other abilities you're using, Set Talent again has some pretty decent value there. You can send the debuffs on the target, of course. Alright. So let's talk a bit about stats. So crit. Yeah, no real strong crit synergy here. Crit's value is just, again, every once in a while you get extra double damage. But there's nothing that really kind of like, works off of crit in any way. So again, its value is going to come from its general scaling. Haste, there's a decent amount of haste synergy. You have a number of cooldowns reduced by haste, and you have a couple of long cooldowns reduced by haste. And that's important because, again, with longer cooldowns, smaller haste amounts actually give you more full seconds, right? So again, 10% off of a 30-second cooldown is 3 seconds, whereas 10% off of a 10-second cooldown is only 1 second. So again, you get far more benefit from the haste there with those longer cooldowns, and you kind of can really feel that there. So again, the fact that Fist of Fury is a relatively long one, even Rising Sun Kick is long, you're going to find that these are going to come down pretty quickly with the haste there, which again is nice. Haste, of course, also helps with energy regeneration, which is nice. Versatility, again, I think it's going to still be strong. It's just a flat damage increase. The joke in the past was that Monk's damage is all aura damage anyway. They don't really scale well with stats. I don't see that changing much, so versatility will still have value here. Mastery, again, mastery is going to be nice. It just is going to be, again, a flat damage increase when you're playing properly. So again, haste might be the only one that wouldn't scale kind of literally in the case. Again, it depends, of course, the scaling of crit as well. But crit and verse can be very similar to each other. They're basically just going to be increases your damage by a certain amount, crit being more random, verse being more consistent. But in the end, same idea. Mastery, same thing as well, right? You're just going to be dealing more damage when you don't repeat. So again, the idea being that you get a flat damage increase on everything. So it's basically going to be what scales better, mastery, crit, or verse. That's the one you're going to go with. Probably with some haste in there as well. Like I mentioned, I do think that haste value is going to have a non-zero value, basically. You're just going to be okay because you have a number of cooldowns that are reduced by haste, and some pretty decently length ones as well. Okay, so overall thoughts. Windwalker is a kind of interesting spec. Again, Touch of Death is a huge part of their overall damage. So again, any kind of fight that again has a damage increase percentage, right? So any boss that has any kind of damage increase or takes more damage, as we saw in some fights in Legion, Touch of Death is going to be huge. 2-minute cooldown, relatively short. Other than that, the one thing I would say again is that you could very much take this full passive row, and this could be what you would go with. Again, Serenity might be useful. Again, Chi Burst I think is going to have some value as well, just because again you can kind of use it as a way of increasing your hit combo, right? Keeping your hit combo up. But that's also a ranged ability, which is nice. So again, Chi Burst or Eye of the Tiger will probably be your two choices there. 45 row, again, is going to be a sim thing. From what I could tell, though, I mean, Fist of the White Tiger is not a bad thing. The Chi generation is nice. I just found that I liked the increased energy regeneration. Increase the maximum Chi isn't that great. Increased energy is nice, though. The one extra Chi, I didn't really find myself capping on Chi too frequently. Again, you would need something else that, again, like a Chi Burst to kind of help cap you in those regards, because in general, you're generating 2 from Tiger Paw and then spending 1, generating 2, and then spending 3 or 2, depending on your ability. So you tend to not find yourself getting too high up there unless, again, you have something like a Chi Burst or something like a Fist of the White Tiger. So again, like these two might actually work well together, but you can't pick both, obviously. Energizing Elixir, again, this might reduce downtime a bit, but with a 1 minute cooldown, getting that extra energy back again is not going to be as helpful as I would think one of the other two would be. Because again, this does damage as well in that 30-second window. 60 row again is going to be your choice of how you want to basically play. This is just utility, of course. 75, I really like inner strength. Unless there's a fight in particular that again has something where you're going to want something like dampen, harm, diffuse magic. Inner strength is a great just kind of set and forget kind of talent, because 10% reduced damage is never a bad thing. 90 row, now this again is one where I could see the White Tiger being competitive with hit combo in certain kind of fights, again for burst fights, things like that. But to me, hit combo should almost be baked in. I think hit combo should be like a part of a passive of the monk and not a talent, because it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to reward you for doing what you should be doing anyway, right? The mastery is already basically this. I just think this would be a passive baked in. Give me a new talent, something kind of interesting here, probably maybe another cooldown or something, because they do seem to be kind of again a bit lacking there. But again, I don't see a lot of honest choice here. Again, like I said, there's only 4 rows that are DPS talents, and of which there's not a single row where I say, yeah, all 3 of these seem appealing. Now again, for AoE, Rushing Draywin maybe, but again, hit combo and the White Tiger both have AoE type parts to them, right? They do hit multiple targets. Hit combo again is all damage. 100 row, same idea here. Willing Dragon Punch again has the good AoE synergy, but again, so does Spiritual Focus and Serenity, right? Again, so there's not really a sense of Spiritual Focus in particular, because again, your dudes will hit all targets. So again, I worry that this is going to be a case where there's not a lot of choice in the talent options here. And again, there's nothing that really really invigorates the spec from a kind of rotation perspective. The rotation's already kind of interesting in its own right, because again, it's that mastery. But again, I do think this is a spec that we're probably not going to see it in this expansion. But again, I do think is already starting to get a bit long, right? There are definitely some obvious issues with Monk, being that they had to be buffed through Aura all through Legion. So for a spec that scales off basically nothing, I don't see that changing too much. Possibly maybe a little bit of haste because of their cooldown reduced by haste. But so those are my thoughts. If you like what I had to say, give me a like. If you dislike what I had to say, give me a dislike. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you agree with me, let me know down in the comments as well. If you like videos like these, go ahead and subscribe. Paladin will be the next class that I'm looking at. So again, if you're looking forward to any of the Paladin information, get subscribed, and hopefully you'll be able to catch those videos later on. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my future videos.